Okay, so one subtopic of relationships is factors affecting attraction. Self-disclosure. This is the idea that that your relationship is based on basically disclosing information, personal information about yourself gradually onto another person. The social penetration theory, SPT, uses this idea as a central concept. And it was proposed by Altman and Taylor in 1973. Claims that partners who penetrate more deeply into each other's lives are more likely to understand each other and therefore become more intimate. Has two elements, breadth and depth. Superficial disclosure of our information at a surface level, this is called breadth. It is narrow, as some topics are off limits, and if too much is revealed, then it threatens the relationship. So it's kind of like flirting, basically. However, as a relationship develops, self-disclosure deepens and covers more topics, revealing more information about yourself. This is depth, and it's high risk because you're revealing more intimate information about yourself. Reciprocity and self-disclosure. Rees and Shaver in 1988, they found that the key to increasing breadth and depth was rewarding your partner after they disclosed personal information. This is important because it means that if you reward someone for example, if I told you that if I told you that for example, like if I talked about like talking about your family, that's like intimate information, kind of. It's like you don't like talking deeply about your family, or talking deeply about your hobbies, your interests, your habits. That's kind of like personal information, and it increases intimacy and it deepens relationship. Okay, so one positive of self-disclosure is that it's supported by research. Lauren Chow, I don't know how to say that, found that in 2000, he conducted a study in 2005 where he asked participants to write daily diary entries about their relationship, and it was found through qualitative data, because this is qualitative data is basically like written information, and it was found that self-disclosure led to greater feelings of intimacy in a couple, so that's good. And since it uses qualitative data, this is that means it has greater ecological validity. Ecological validity is when it applies to like a real life, so therefore, yeah, it applies to like real life situations, yeah, and so therefore it increases the validity of the theory, and that self-disclosure does lead to more satisfying relationships. Okay, well, it's not true for all cultures. This is negative. Tang, 2013, he concluded that individualistic cultures self-disclose more intimate thoughts and feelings than those in collectivist cultures. Individualist culture, that means like the culture is more focused on individual growth, whereas collectivist is more focused on like the growth of everybody around you, like together. Individualist culture, an example of that is the USA. Collectivist culture, an example of that is like China. So it found that, yeah, in individualist cultures they were more intimate. However, the satisfaction was still high in both. So it says that self-disclosure is a limited explanation, as it doesn't explain why in collectivist cultures they still have the same level of satisfaction, but despite not self-disclosing as I say on the same rate. It's also limited explanation because it's based on findings from Western cultures, so therefore may not apply to other cultures and has cultural bias. One other small negative is that it's nomothetic. Nomothetic is where they basically assume that all relationships can be explained by this one. It's basically saying that this study is like it's saying there's a general law for all relationships, and therefore it's a negative because it doesn't explain all relationships don't act like, they're not all exactly like this. It's not as robotic as this. That's like a negative. It's not ideographic, is where it's the opposite of nomothetic, is where they, for example, on a case study, they look at each individual like individually, look at their own subjective experiences, whereas nomothetic is more like trying to apply like a real life. It's trying to create general, like it's basically the whole point of a nomothetic idea is to generalize. It's just to generalize the support. It's to generalize the research. Okay. Okay. The negative. Another negative is that most support is from correlational research, and therefore cannot a cause and effect cannot be established between self-disclosure and satisfaction. This reduces the validity of the concept. However, there is a good real-life application in that it can be used to improve romantic relationships. Like, for example, couple therapy, they need to self-disclose information about each other, so that they can like understand why there's problems, etc. And that's basically, that's factors affecting attraction, self-disclosure. Okay, so another factor affecting attraction is physical attractiveness. So the Shackelford and Larson in 1997 proposed the evolutionary theory for attractiveness. They said that people with symmetrical faces are considered more attractive because it implies genetic fitness, and those with baby face or feminine facial features are attractive because they are associated with caring instincts. And more examples are jaw sharpness indicates intelligence and confidence, kind of self-explanatory, because they speak. It shows that they talk more. So yeah, females with a 0.7% waist to hip ratio are more attractive to men, as it shows that they are more likely to be able to bear children. Men with a V-shaped chest are more attractive because it's like they're dominant, strong, they have high testosterone. That means they're more genetically fit, once again linking to, Okay, so the halo effect, this is like the main, there's two main like explanations of physical, there's two main like theories basically based on physical attractiveness. There's the halo effect, which is when people are judged as attractive, when people who are judged as attractive are perceived in a positive light, so it reinforces the physical attractiveness stereotype. So Dion et al. In 1972, he found that attractive people were consistently rated as successful, kind, and sociable compared to unattractive, only because they were attractive. That's the main point, it's only because they were attractive. So it's basically assuming that somebody that's attractive is like, has all these other factors as well. So yeah, it makes good looking people appear more successful, which is kind of a bad thing, as it's not really that realistic, I don't think. So therefore, physical attractiveness can disproportionately influence people's judgment of each other and another person's attributes. For example, it may assume less attractive people are less intelligent. The matching hypothesis. This was proposed by Wolster. It was found that people chose romantic partners who are of similar physical attractiveness, which implies that we make a realistic judgment of our own attractive value when seeking romantic partners. To compromise for this, we desire the most attractive partner possible, but we balance this to avoid rejection from someone considered considerably. Okay, okay. That's not a very good typo, but considerably far considerably far more attractive than us. Let's just ignore that. Considerably far more attractive than us. The key people, okay, yeah, that's just a reminder of the key people so far. I should probably include the other ones, but research support for the evaluation is research support. There is research support. So Palmer and Peterson in 2012, they found that physically attractive people were rated more politically knowledgeable than unattractive. This has this links to like social sensitivity, as it's socially sensitive to politicians, as it's implying that politicians are only judged suitable based on physical attractiveness, and therefore, but it's good for this because it supports the existence of the halo effect, and is therefore an important factor in formation of relationships. A negative from Molster. So yeah, it's kind of ironic because he proposed this thing, but it didn't actually turn out to be. It didn't actually turn out to be true in his own study. So he invited 752 first-year students to a dance party, and they secretly matched them in pairs according to their attractiveness. So they basically matched them based on their attractiveness, which somebody else judged. So, and then they later asked if they would go on a second date. Contrary to the matching hypothesis, students express a great appreciation of the partner, regardless of their own level of attractiveness. So therefore, the research. So therefore, it goes against. Yeah, it goes against. What's it? Where is it? It goes against the idea that we make a judgment of our own attractive value when seeking romantic partners. However, this study also, another negative of the study is that it has a researcher bias, as the subjective nature of how attractive somebody was rated. So, yeah, there was a subjective nature of how the attraction of each person was rated, and therefore lacks ecological validity, as it says that, you know, like everything in the study can't really be applied to how everybody else views people, how everybody else views attractive people. The positive of physical attractiveness is that it's applicable across cultures. Cunningham in 1995 found that female features of large eyes, prominent cheekbones, and small nose was rated highly attractive by white, Hispanic, and Asian males. So it's quite universal. So the universality of the findings suggests the attractiveness as a factor in choosing a partner is genetically reproduced. It's a genetically reproduced mechanism, so it, like, everybody has it. However, the study did have beta bias, as it only looked at what males think of females. So it's like it's kind of undermining what females think of males. So another negative is that it has significant individual differences on the importance of physical attractiveness. For example, Tohi, he gave participants photos and biographical info of strangers, and then he was asked to rate their attractiveness. Oh no, the participants were asked to rate their own attractiveness. No, they were asked to rate the attractiveness of the photos which they had been given, and it was found that physical attractiveness was more important for sexist participants. I'm not really sure how they found out it was sexist. I don't know about that, but like they may not be. So it says that basically physical attractiveness might not be an important factor for everybody, and so this goes against the matching hypothesis, as it shows that the matching hypothesis takes a nomothetic approach by trying to create a general law, and it doesn't consider the idiographic explanations of their own. It doesn't consider their own like experience and their own rating of physical attractiveness on their level of importance for a relationship. And yeah, that's basically physical attractiveness. Okay, moving on to the filter theory. Well, I haven't actually finished this one, but let's just say So basically, the filter theory is an explanation of relationship formation proposed by Kirchhoff and Davis. So many names to remember. Okay, so the first level is social demography, or factors like. So it says that factors like geographical location, social class, and ethnicity influence the chances of potential partners meeting. So it is more likely to form relationships with those nearby and those who are socially and culturally similar. This is also called homogamy, as this helps development of relationship. The second level is similarity in attitudes. So we view those who share the same core beliefs and attitudes as more attractive, as it promotes self-disclosure. You're more likely to trust somebody who is more who has the same beliefs and same thoughts, same attitudes. You're more likely to trust them, and then so this promotes self-disclosure. This is supported by Byrne, who found that similarity in attitudes particularly important. A similarity in attitudes is particularly important in couples together for less than 18 months. So it's kind of that's the judging phase. So it's similarity in attitudes is the most important then. The third level is the complementary filter. It says that the ability of a romantic partner to meet each other's needs. So it is the ability of a romantic partner to meet each other's needs by having traits the other partner lacks, as it gives the feeling that they form a whole together, and they form they need each other, basically, kind of that idea. And it was found that this is more important for long-term couples. Obviously, because they're going to care more about feeling whole together, being compatible, I guess. Support for this study comes from Baldini. That's a strange name. Baldini, he conducted a longitudinal study on couples aged 21 and found that those similar in educational level and age were more likely to stay together. This highlights the importance of socio-demographic factors like age and location in forming a relationship. So it goes back to this, the first level. And so it supports the theory. However, this is reductionistic, as people don't, it's reductionistic because you're reducing complex, you're reducing complex, attitudes, feelings and emotions, to just 3 categories. It's quite reductionistic. It's not really very human. And it also doesn't explain why people stay in abusive relationships.